Hey everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new video. Yes. Hang on, did that just move on its own? That's freaky. Oh, it must have been my shoulder. Yes, back for a new series of videos, scary reviews. Every year I did this. I did this last year, where I'll go through my entire physical media collection, looking for Blu-rays or 4Ks of horror films, scaries, jump scares, thrillers that I haven't actually seen. And I've got a list of around about 30 films. Whether or not I get to see all of them this month, we'll see. But we do have some pretty well-known hard hitters amongst the list, including The Exorcist, and we have some Insidious, some Conjuring and other films as well. But before we get going, just to let you know, I am recording this video throughout the month and giving my thoughts on the films as I see them. So if you see me in a different t-shirt in every clip, don't worry, it's just a different day. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get going with the first one.
Happy Halloween!
Okay, so first up is Insidious Chapter 2. Yes, I saw the first Insidious, must have been about a year ago, and I turned it off halfway. After Darth Maul appeared, I turned it off. Yeah, but I did go back and rewatch it, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't such a jump scare the second time round, but there were still things in there that unnerved me. And I figured, you know, a year later, wait a year to see Insidious Chapter 2. And I really enjoyed that one as well. So following on from the first film, after Patrick Wilson's character Josh went into the other world to retrieve his son, which he successfully did, but did he come back alone? Yeah, and because the police are investigating the house, they've had to move into the grandmother's house. Of course, as I say, Josh didn't come back alone, and we get to start seeing things moving around the house again, things moving on their own, noises, people walking about the house on their own, and scaring the bejesus out of the family. And why Josh is of such interest goes back to the 80s, where we see a flashback to when Josh was a kid, and a ghostly white figure that attached itself to him. So it don't matter what house you're in, wherever he goes, they go. But I did enjoy it. It did have a few jump scares, maybe 2 or 3 jump scares. Very creepy. I like that they brought the character played by Lynn Shay back, who I believe is in the other films as well. So I do have Insidious Chapter 3 and is it the Lost Key or the Last Key? I think it's the Last Key to watch this month as well. And later on in the month, they're also bringing out the Red Door as well. So I'll grab that one. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Very creepy. And I do like this family, this connection with the kids and Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson. And I look forward to the films in the chapter as well. So yeah, I had fun with this one. Okay, next up we have a comedy. Yes, The Descent Part 2. Yes, this started off promising. This basically, I mean, the first film, yeah, I really enjoyed the first film. It was about a group of women that went down into the caves and encountered these like ravenous creatures that eat people that can't see, you know, because they've been down in the dark for so long. And this film follows a group of cave divers that decide to go down looking for survivors. One of the survivors makes it out and ends up going to the hospital, and they pressure her into going back down there to look for the other survivors. They go, instead of just going down through caves this time, they go down through an old mine in this old building. for the first part of the film, it was actually quite good. Eerie, claustrophobic, tight spaces, good interaction between the cast. Then it started getting a bit silly. Yeah, one of the characters that went along with them is a sheriff, played by Brad from Superman 3. And of all the cave divers and all the survivors that got eaten or come to a sticky situation while they were down there, he almost survived. An overweight 60-year-old man almost survived to the end of the film. Yeah, unscathed, I might add. But he did come to a sticky end. Yeah, let's just say that they had to drop him. Yes, you get the creatures in this that look like orcs from Lord of the Rings. But there are also some silly moments in the film, like one woman getting stuck, it just cocooned in with rocks and can't get out. You have two of them crawling through these narrow cavern ways, trying to not make as much noise as possible because there's one of these creatures at the other end, and you know they can hear everything. And all of a sudden there's a rat, and you're just holding yourself. And of course one of them starts screaming because a rat ran past. It's a rat, love. There's more down there than a rat you need to worry about. And another scene later on, after these two of the women swim under all the caverns and get to some airspace, it's all this floating stuff and they wonder what it is. And all of a sudden one of these orcs comes walking towards them, turns around, hangs its arse off the edge of the rock and takes a shit in the water. And he didn't even flush. Yeah, silly things like that ruined the atmosphere, and yeah, I bet it did. Oh, bloody hell, and ruined it, and kind of took you out of the moment. When it got to the end, actually, I think the end is kind of shit. It's kind of shit. Yeah, just like that orc hanging his arse over the cave. Everything they went through, and they ended it like that. Why the hell did they end it like that? That was a stupid ending. Really stupid ending. So yeah, definitely not as good as the first one. It had a promising start. The first 45 minutes was really good, and I was thinking, this is almost as good as the original. You know, why are people shitting all over it? Probably because they were in a cave. Yeah, and then there's stupid moments and dumb decisions for the rest of the film. So yeah, it was a good idea. It was a good promising start. If I ever do watch it again, I'll probably turn it off after 45 minutes. But yeah, a potentially good film ruined by some really bad decisions. But it looked good. The caves looked good. The sound was good. The rock collapse was really impressive through the subwoofer. Yeah. Okay, so next up we have Brahms, The Boy 2. Yes, really enjoyed the first film. The first film starred Lauren Cohan, Maggie from The Walking Dead. She was really good in that. This is about a different family that experience a home invasion in the city at the beginning of the film, and they feel, because it's traumatized the kid that they've got, they need to get out a little bit and go and stay at this place in the country. So they stay at this nice little cottage, which is just next to the house that was in the first film. And of course their son just wanders into the forest and sees this hand sticking up, porcelain hand, and decides to dig it up. And of course it's Brahms. So of course he's going to take it back. He needs kind of like a security blanket because he's still traumatized after these men breaking in and attacking the family. And yeah, it takes him back to the house. They clean him up, and you get the usual, you know, a doll coming, not exactly coming to life, but moving its head and walking from one part of the room to the other. And it's just the same. It's just the same as the first film. It's not as good as the first film. Katie Holmes is in this film and she replaces Lauren Cohan, but not the same character. As I say, it's a different family. There was a couple of jump scares, maybe 3 jump scares. One of them was a dog. But nothing major. It was just an okay film, but not a patch on the first film. Yeah, so just pretty average, really. The acting was good. It's got Owen Yeoman. Owen Yeoman. I can't remember his name. He was in The Mentalist. Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. It was not very long. It's 86 minutes, so not very long at all. But like I say, it's nowhere near as good as the first film. And it's a nice compendium piece, but it doesn't really do anything new. Yeah, so there we go. That's Brahms' The Boy 2. Watch the first film. Doesn't really add anything new. Okay, so next up we have this quirky little zombie film called The Dead Don't Die. A film by Jim Jarmusch. I've never heard of him before. Yeah, this has got a really impressive cast. I'll go through a bit of a cast in a minute. So this is set in a really small American town called Centerville. Population's about 700 and something. Just one of these American sleepy towns. You've got the local police there. You have Adam Driver. You also have Bill Murray and Chloe Sevigny. They are basically the 3 police officers. And they're kind of laid back, very laid back police officers. There's this old hermit played by Tom Waits that just wanders around the forest eating chickens and stuff. And one night there's reports of the moon being thrown off its axis. And it's got this really weird kind of like greeny hue around the outside of the moon. And because it's been thrown off its axis, daytime and nighttime is all weird. It's all muddled up, you know. When it should be dark, it's actually light. And weird things start happening around the town. All the pets and all the animals seem to have completely vanished. A lot of them are hiding. Some of them are a bit more aggressive than they were. And before you know it, the dead start coming back to life. Well, not really, no, because they're already dead. So they start reanimating themselves, yeah. And they start digging through the cemetery and just wander around the town, biting people's necks. And it's the Walking Dead type of zombie, you know, so you don't have to worry about outrunning them. Thank God for that. Yeah, in fact, I think they're slower than the ones in The Walking Dead as well. And it's just about the townsfolk going up against them and trying to save themselves and also kill a lot of the undead. Now, the cast in this is, like I say, it's a really impressive cast. So you've got Bill Murray, who's the police chief. You have Tilda Swinton, who at the start you don't quite know what she is. She's kind of like this martial arts with a sword and Buddha. In fact, it turns out she's actually the town's coroner. But there's a little twist on her character which crops up later on in the film, and it's kind of, I didn't expect that. Yeah. It kind of like came out of nowhere. Exactly. Yeah. We have Steve Buscemi, who's just the local loser, and he's got chickens, and his chickens are going missing and his cows are going missing. Caleb Landry Jones, I'm not sure who that is. You've got Iggy Pop, who plays a zombie. They didn't need any makeup with Iggy Pop because he looks exactly the same. RZA, I think that might be a rapper or something. You've got Selena Gomez along with 2 other friends driving to town for no reason. And just end up staying at the motel. And one of the friends is actually Austin Butler, you know, Elvis. And in fact, his name's not actually on the front. His name is not on the front of here. So very strange. Yeah, who else we've got? We've got Adam Driver, who's another one of the police officers, and Chloe Sevigny. You've got Danny Glover. I still don't know what his role was in the film. He just kind of like turns up at the diner, has a couple of cups of coffee, and then just buggers off. Yeah, Rosie Perez. She's not really in it that much. She's just a newsreader. Sarah Driver. Is she related to Adam Driver? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Carol Kane and yeah, Tom Waits as well. But like it says there in the bottom there, it says the greatest zombie cast ever disassembled. So it is a bit of fun there. There's Tilda Swinton's. It's kind of like the bride from Kill Bill, but even though she's the coroner and that. But like I say, she's got a really weird ending to her character. It's never really explained, and there's not a lot of backstory to many of the characters. They're just there and you just go along with the story with them, and you never really learn too much about them or any history, anything like that. But it is a very tongue-in-cheek film. It's not a serious zombie film. It is a zombie comedy in the vein of Shaun of the Dead. So if you like that sort of thing, that would be perfect. And there's this really well-known song called The Dead Don't Die by the great Sturgill Simpson. And it just keeps playing throughout the film. And when it's playing in the car and Bill Murray's like, oh, that's familiar. I'm sure I've heard that before. And Adam Driver's like, well, yeah, it's the theme tune to the film. It's kind of that crazy kind of comedy stuff. And also they start talking about the script as well. Because Adam Driver is always saying things are not going to end well. And Bill Murray's like, how do you know it's not going to end well? And Adam Driver's like, well, because I've read the script. The director gave me the script. But yeah, it's kind of like really weird, but it's nice little in jokes there. But I had fun with it. I thought it was a good film. Nothing too serious. It's just one of those laid back, enjoy yourself with a popcorn and a drink, and just have a bit of fun with it. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. That is The Dead Don't Die. Impressive cast. It's just a bit of fun. For about an hour and 45 minutes. So yeah, that's The Dead Don't Die. Okay, so next up is a biggie. Yes, it was my first time watching The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin. Now, this is a 5-disc edition. It comes with 2 different versions on 4K, including the theatrical and the extended cut. I didn't know which version to watch, so I put a little poll on the Big Pauly Chatting Movies and TV page on Facebook. The majority said go for the standard theatrical version, but a lot of people did say extended was the best way to go, so I figured I'd go with the majority. Also because I kind of felt like I wanted to see what everybody else saw the first time they watched it, so I went with the theatrical. About 30 minutes into the film, unfortunately, the screen all started breaking up and pixelating, and it froze. That went on for a couple of minutes, and it came back on the audio. There was no audio, and it just kept breaking up for another couple of minutes. So I figured this is not good, because it's kind of skipped to another chapter, and I don't know what happened in between. So it wasn't until I looked at the disc and saw that it had a scratch, which is not on the surface, because you run your fingernail over it, you can't feel a thing. It looks like it's underneath, and it follows the contours of the actual disc. So very surprised, and I never noticed that before. So the only thing I could do other than abandon the film is just put the extended cut in. Okay, so what is the film about? It's about an exorcist. Yes, so the film starts out in North Iraq with Max von Sydow's character, Father Merin, I think his name is. He's kind of excavating some artifacts out there. Doesn't really have any relevance on the story other than him being kind of an archaeologist in a way. The main focus of the story, of course, is at Ellen Burstyn, who is an actress, and her daughter Reagan, who's this normal young girl, and she starts to develop personality changes and things like that. And throughout the film, she gets worse and worse. They bring in psychologists and put it down to her mood changes and something to do with something in her head. But after things start happening, like the bed starts spinning around and she starts talking in a really deep voice, it dawns on them that she's possessed and she needs exercising. Yeah, don't we all need a bit of exercise? There's also another priest in the film, Father Keris. He's got a bit of experience with like therapy and stuff like that. And they bring him into it. But yeah, the daughter is in a really bad way and they need to just exorcise this devil out of her. Now, the daughter, Reagan, played by Linda Blair, plays it perfectly. I don't know what the production would have told her parents when they were filming this. Today, you're going to tell a priest to stick something up his arse. She's going to lift up her nightgown and tell a priest to fuck her, and then she's going to tell everybody else they're cunts. So there was a bit of harsh language in this, but it goes with the devil. Yeah. Effects, 1973. Effects were good. They stand up. There was the creepy scene of running down the stairs backwards. Yeah. Which is not in the theatrical cut apparently, so I got to see that in the extended cut, and the whole turning the head around, spitting at everybody, puking at everybody, and yeah, but yeah, I thought it was a very good film and very effective. How does it stand up this day and age? It's not scary. It's not scary at all, and that's coming from a person that's not really into horror as much as a lot of people. Maybe back in 1973 this scared the shit out of people. In fact, I had a look at some of the trivia on IMDb, and it said that they had ambulances waiting outside cinemas and they had to call for people after they passed out. I don't know if that was there was jump scares. There weren't really any jump scares. I think it was more psychological, and I think it was witnessing what a child doesn't normally do, well, like head spinning around and so much swearing and cursing at God and all that kind of stuff. So I think for audiences back then, it's kind of an eye-opener. It was very unexpected. But anyway, yeah, so I did get to see The Exorcist. I thought it was a very good film. I wouldn't say it's the best horror film of all time. No, there are a lot of horror films that I've seen that I do prefer, but it is a good one. So I'll definitely recommend it, for like the horror season. As for my dodgy disc, I don't think I could get a replacement because this is the steelbook from HMV and it's completely sold out. And I don't know if HMV can send me a replacement disc. So what I might do, I might just hang on for a while. When the standard 4K goes down in price, maybe when it hits 10 quid in CEX, I'll just grab that and then just put the 4K disc in here. But anyway, yes, that is The Exorcist. So that is a recommendation. Not a scary film, but very good. I'm a fast starter. I'm a fast starter. Yes, next up we have Firestarter remake. Yes, this is a remake of a Stephen King story. It's also the remake of a film from way back with little Drew Barrymore in. This is a Blumhouse film. Was it really needed? I really don't think so. I really don't think so. People warned me. They said, "Oh, don't bother watching that. Watch the original." And I got to be honest, it really didn't add anything extra. It's the story about this family with a little girl and the mum and the dad. They were experimented on back in the day by this organisation, telekinetics and pyrotechnics and all that. They've all got kind of like powers. It's kind of like the early X-Men. Yeah, and we have this little girl that can basically make things explode and make things burst into flames. And Drew Barrymore was fantastic in the film, and it was done a lot better in the original. So this really doesn't add anything extra. You've got Zac Efron as the father. And all he does is just bleed out of his eyes, and it's not a very good sight. It's a bit icky. Yeah, but I never really felt the connection. I never really felt the connection between either the mum, the father, or the daughter. And whereas Drew Barrymore has this very cute kind of effect, and one of these young actresses that you warm to, that doesn't annoy her, she never really did anything. It was just, it could have been any young actress doing the role. She had no pulling power. She had nothing that made you think this is a fantastic actress doing a fantastic job. It was just, it was all very plain and done before. And it was done a lot better back in the original film. I mean, I don't mind remakes, but when you do a remake for no reason whatsoever other than grabbing a bit of money, it's pointless. It's really pointless. It's probably a film that I'm never going to bother watching again. I'll just watch the original. So this is probably going to end up in a CEX trade pile. So yeah, added nothing. I did watch the alternate ending. The alternate ending was crap, really, really crap. And really the ending of this wasn't much better. And as for setting fire to a poor little defenceless pussycat, no, not for me. No, this was, yeah, there we go. That's Firestarter. Okay, so next up we have Annabelle. Yes, the second film in the Conjuring universe. This is the first of the Annabelle films that I've watched. I thought this was pretty good. There was some scary scenes in that, which I'll talk about in a minute. So the basic premise of the film is this couple, the woman is pregnant, played by Annabelle Wallis. Yes, strange that the lead actress is actually called Annabelle. Yes, and she's a bit of a collector. She likes to collect these old dolls, these old like porcelain dolls and things like that. She's got like shelves and shelves full of them, a bit like us with our physical media. And her husband comes home one day with this big doll, that one. And one night this couple are pitted up against two cult worshipping maniacs. They manage to get a call out to the cops, and the cops get there in the nick of time to save them. It's like the evil essence from this cultist is transferred into the Annabelle doll and becomes possessed, and just makes life for this new family a living hell. Yeah, there's lots of things that go on around the house, like doors opening and closing as usual. Of course, the mother fears for her newborn baby. There's several times where the baby is in peril, and they eventually learn that this possessed doll has got like a demon attached to it, who wants a soul, who wants the newborn baby's soul or the mother's soul. And there are a couple of instances that kind of shook me up a little bit in this film. One scene where the mother was standing in the room with the door slightly open, and you could see like a little girl standing in one room, and she came running towards the camera, and as she bumped to the door opened and it was like a full-grown adult. That gave me goosebumps. I went bloody cold with that scene. That was scary as shit. The other scene is when she goes down to like the storage area. It's in the dark down there, and she's trying to use this lift to get to her floor, and it just keeps staying on the same floor. The door's open, the door's closed, and it stays there. And she tries to make a run for it up the steps, up the stairs. And there's this black-looking demon that's just chasing her, and that you also get to see that a little bit later on in the bedroom, where the doll mysteriously just rises up, and you're looking at the doll, but slightly behind you can see this evil devil's face. So that was a little bit chilling as well. But I thought it was well paced. Like I say, for me, 5 or 6 jump scares, a few chilling moments. If a film's going to put my bloody hairs on end and give me chills, then it's doing the right thing. But yeah, I thought it was really good, very effective. I like the cast. I like the husband and the wife. Of course, we first saw the Annabelle doll in the first Conjuring film, and we know that it's actually now in a glass cabinet at the Warrens. So not to be meddled with. Yes. Okay, so I do recommend this one. I've still got a few more Conjuring Annabelle films to go through, so I'm looking forward to seeing the other 2 Annabelle films in this collection. As a standalone film that is just slightly linked to the Conjuring movies, I definitely recommend this one to put the chills up. Yeah. Okay, so next up, a couple of films that I watched on streaming recently. First up is Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. Yes, this is a prequel to the original Pet Sematary film. Really enjoy the original film. This one is set in 1969, and although it's called Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, it doesn't really feature pets that much. It's got a dog in it. That's about it. It's mainly to do with the origins of the evil that enables pets to come back to life, and how this ancient evil came about way back. So, I mean, it was a good idea. It didn't add anything new. I don't know if I really wanted to know the origins. I would rather it have just been left as, there's this secret place, you go and bury your pets, they come back to life, but they don't come back right. I don't want to know about humans, and I don't want to know about ancient spirits and all that kind of stuff. It's purely Pet Cemetery. That's why it's called Pet Cemetery. The cast in this was pretty good. We have Henry Thomas, E.T., Elliot from E.T. We also have a rather old-looking David Duchovny. I don't know if he's been made up or if he really does look that old now. Flipping Nora. And Pam Grier was in it as well. Unusual. Yeah, the main character, Judd Grandel. And this is set in 1969. Something that I was thinking about is that he's in his 20s in this film, but he's the same character that Fred Gwynne played in the original, and that was set in the 80s. So he's gone from like mid-20s to like late 60s, early 70s in a 15-year age gap. 15-year... I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get how he's gone from mid-20s into his 70s in 15 years. Yeah. It was okay. It was slow. Not enough pets. Not enough pet action. Like I say, it was mainly all about the bloodlines and about the ancient humans and there was some digging about in tunnels. There was some sometimes it kind of felt a bit like a zombie movie as well, because there's this one, I think there was 3 friends, Judd and 2 other friends, and there's an Indian friend, and there's this friend that went off to war and he came back, but he's different. He's kind of zombified, because at the beginning of the film we see David Duchovny's character carrying this large kind of person wrapped up and burying them. So you can see what's happened. His son died in combat They shipped him home. David Duchovny's character couldn't live with it, so he buried his son. His son's come back a zombie, and he's going after everybody and killing them. Yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah, it's like one of those one-time throwaway watches, to be perfectly honest. I'd much rather watch the original, and I'd much rather watch the one with Jason Clarke a couple of years ago, because I really enjoyed that one. But Pet Cemetery Bloodlines, one-off watch. Okay, so next up, the second film in the streaming, a film called Totally Killer. Yes, on Prime. This is kind of a mix of Back to the Future and Scream, with a bit of Halloween thrown in as well. That's a combination. Yes, it stars Kernan Shipka. And basically, back in 1987, there was this serial killer known as the Sweet 16 Killer, because, you know, he went after girls that were 16. And I think 3 people were killed back then. And now, present day, this killer has re-emerged and has gone after the main character's mum, played by Julie Bowen from Modern Family. And spoiler, yeah, he does her in. Yeah, so now, present day, Kernan Shipka's character, Jamie Hughes, her mum gets offed, and she has a friend at school that's kind of like delved into time travel, that was kind of like passed down by her mum, and she's able to time travel back to 1987 to try and prevent these deaths of these 3 young girls. And it becomes the whole Back to the Future, you know, high school, meeting your mum, meeting your dad, and trying to steer them in the right direction while trying to not mess up the timeline. It was a fun film. Of course, 80s, you get all of the 80s clothes. You got a great 80s soundtrack. The cast were pretty good. Kernan Shipka, I don't know if I only ever remember her in Mad Men. I think she was the daughter in Mad Men, but she was all right, but I don't know if she was the right actress for the role. But it was an okay film. It was an entertaining film. It's about an hour and a half or so. It wasn't boring. Looked good to look at. Like I say, Back to the Future mixed with Scream and a bit of Halloween. That's what you got. Yeah, so Totally Killer. That's on Prime. Give it a go. Okay, next up we have Russell Crowe in The Pope's Exorcist. This is inspired by the actual files of the Vatican's chief exorcist. Yes, he plays Father Gabriel Amorth. So what happens, this woman and her 2 children, a boy and a girl, who recently lost their father and her husband a year earlier. They've inherited an old abbey in Spain, massive big old house that needs renovating. So they decide to go to Spain, stay there, oversee the renovations, and then hopefully flog it and then go back to America. But this abbey holds many secrets, many dark secrets deep down below, and the young son becomes possessed by this demon. And it's basically The Exorcist with Russell Crowe. I thought it was quite a fast-paced film. There was lots of throwing people around the room, possessing other people, lots of swearing and running up and down the walls. And Father Amorth is summoned to go to this abbey in Spain and exorcise this demon out of this boy. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a really good, fast-paced, exorcise your demon film. Russell Crowe played the character brilliantly. He had this wit about him. He had this tongue-in-cheek and witty when he can be, but he was focused on the job and getting this demon out of this boy. The rest of the family were good. The mum, the daughter was good. And there was also another priest that helped Father Amor. Most of the film is set in this big old abbey in the ruins. Underneath it, we got all these like catacombs and hidden secrets that go back centuries. And the film also delves into Father Amorth's past as well, and that he wasn't able to save a young woman. But yeah, I really had fun with this. I thought it was a really good film. I think I actually prefer it to The Exorcist. Yeah, I know The Exorcist is considered the best film, the best horror film of all time, the best Exorcist film, but I thought this flowed better. I thought the demon in the child was better, and I thought that they felt more threatened by this demon in this kid, who was a much more animated and much more horrific than Linda Blair's version in The Exorcist. Don't get me wrong, The Exorcist is still a good film, but I think I prefer this one on rewatch. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. If you like The Exorcist, if you like that type of film, give this a go. Really surprised by that. So yeah, brilliant. That's The Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. Okay, so next up, I watched Annabelle Creation. Yes, and I've got to say, this is one of my favourite of the Conjuring universe so far. This was genuinely scary and freaky. I believe it's set in the early 40s to start with. There's this couple played by Anthony LaPaglia, I think his name is, and Miranda Otto. And with their daughter. And Anthony LaPaglia's character is a doll maker. Yes, he's the father of Annabelle. And after a tragic accident with their daughter where she dies, we skip forward 12 years to a group of orphan girls and a nun as they travel to the old doll maker's house before going on to an orphanage. The cast in this was really good. Especially the orphan girls. There was one, Janice, who was one of the leads. She had polio. She got a kind of cripple, and she walked with a stick, and her leg was kind of like had a caliper on it, which is what I had when I was really young. And she's got some really great screen presence. She commands every scene that she's in, but all of the other girls are really good. There's not a bad actor among them. One night when they're all asleep in the house, there's some banging and some running around. One of the girls gets out of bed and goes to investigate. She finds herself going into the deceased daughter's bedroom of this couple, and is drawn into this kind of big walk-in closet where who's sitting in there? Yes, and she's been put in there for a reason. And after this couple lost their daughter, they tried to do anything they could to bring her back, praying to any kind of force. And unfortunately, they attracted the wrong power. And this demon inherits the Annabelle doll, and we get to see the demon quite a lot throughout the film. It wants souls, and with a house full of orphan girls, it can take its pick. So yeah, really had fun with this one. It was scary. There was a few good jump scares for me. One of the standouts is when the doll got up with the cover over it and started walking towards the young girl. And as the doll walks forward, it pulls off the cover over it, and there's nothing there. There's a lot of like hiding in shadows, and then all of a sudden something jumps out, or some big demon hand grabs somebody. So there is a lot of scary moments in it. And I thought the ending of this was fantastic. The ending of this, it sets it right up to go straight into Annabelle. So if you watch it in chronological order, you know, one film after the other, then it becomes one giant story. Of course, I watched Annabelle first, so I was familiar with the characters that are at the end of the film, but I remember what happened on the very final scene, and it just sets up the first film straight away. So yeah, Annabelle Creation, bloody loved it. Bloody loved it. Great cast, good scares. I love the friendship between all of these orphan girls and the nun as well. And I thought it was just genuinely scary. Yeah, the picture quality on this was really good on Blu-ray. But I have to say the sound, this was Dolby Atmos, and I cranked it up and flipping Nora. Yeah, that vibrated the room a few times. And when there were bangs coming from the ceiling, there were bangs coming from the ceiling. And when there were bangs coming from the walls, yeah, someone was in the walls. Very impressive. So, yeah, Annabelle Creation, that's one of the best ones I've seen so far. So I can't wait for the next one. I've got Annabelle Comes Home to watch, Conjuring 3 as well. And also I've got The Curse of La Llorona. So I'm looking forward to watching those ones. But definitely get a thumbs up for Annabelle Creation. Okay, so next up we have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Yes, this is set in 1968, around Halloween time, Halloween night, and it's about a group of young teens that go out trick-or-treating, and they find this big house where this girl went missing once. They enter the house and find a secret room and a book. And the girl, Sarah Bellows, that was kept prisoner in the basement in this house, liked to write stories into this book. So these teenagers' lives have been written in this book, and there's this dark force that's coming after them. Now, I thought this was really good, really well paced. There were some freaky moments in the film. This weird looking kind of like, I don't know, half monster, half baby walking down a corridor. There was one of the girls that had this massive spot that burst open and shit tons of spiders came out. And this demonic creature at the end that just started chasing them everywhere. So yeah, I thought it was really good. Like I say, well paced. It was very creepy because it was in this old house, you know, like Adam's family style house. Lots of dirty basements and rooms. The house hadn't been lived in a long time. I like the look of it from the 60s as well. You know, we've got no kids walking around with a mobile phone strapped to their heads or anything like that. There's also the shadow of the Vietnam War lurking in the background of this. We have a big scarecrow that comes to life, and yeah, really enjoyed this. I believe this is based on a book or a series of books. There is a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 2 coming. They've already confirmed the film is happening. It's in pre-production, but I think the pandemic and the writer's strike has kind of like put a thingy on it. So yeah, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Really enjoyed that. Forgive the noise, the neighbours cutting the grass. The one sunny day in the last 20 days. Yes, get it while you can. Yeah, so there we go. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Yeah, I definitely recommend this to watch this on Halloween. Really good film. Okay, so next up we have the first Terrifier film featuring Art the Clown. Yes, now there are many films out there with clowns. You know, we have Pennywise from It. We have Twisty from American Horror Story. And we have Art the Clown. And they all have their own unique looks. And I gotta say, he was just as terrifying as the others. So the main focus on the film is about these two women that have gone out on the piss up one night. And they're too drunk to drive, so they stop off at this cafe for a rest and a drink. And seriously, one of them needs the bog. So they find this nearby building, get in there, and a bit of, oh my God, the state of that bloody bathroom. Holy shit. And Art the Clown has followed them there. And what happens is, killing spree. Yeah. How many times can you brutally kill someone? How many different ways? Art carries this big bin bag full of all sorts of gadgets and weapons of choice. You got saws, hammers, hacksaws, guns, all sorts of stuff, chains, and we get to see different methods of decapitation and gruesome killing. Yeah, it's quite gory. I gotta say, I've never seen a woman sawn in half from her vag to her head before. It's the first time for everything. Yes, and also I've never seen someone wear someone else's tits. It is quite terrifying. He can be injured. He's injured in the film. You know, multiple people go at him, stabbing at him and that. So you think, is he actually mortal? But by the time you get to the end of the film, with what happens at the end of the film, you realise there's no way in hell that he is mortal. So yes, blood, guts, gore, close up, and just fun for an hour and a half. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I actually thought it was quite good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Terrifier 2 because it is longer. I believe the first film was only 85 minutes, but the second film is at 142 minutes. That's a few more kills. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the second film. But yeah, give it a go. If you like clowns, even if you don't like clowns, and you like a lot of gore and a lot of chopping up people, and yeah, give it a go. Okay, so next up we have Insidious Chapter 3. Yeah, I thought sequels are supposed to get worse most of the time anyway. This one really surprised me. I thought this was fantastic. Really fantastic. Yeah, this is kind of a prequel. It's set before the story of the Lambert family. So there's no Patrick Wilson, there's no Rose Byrne. And it's about this young teenage girl whose mum died about 1.5 years ago. And she's been trying to contact her using the old, probably Ouija board methods. But she gets word that Elise, you know, played by Lynn Shay, may be able to contact her. So she goes to see her, tries to persuade her to go to the other side and speak to her mum and see if her mum thinks that she, you know, she's doing well. Elise reluctantly agrees to do it, and in the process, something comes back from the other side. Yeah, and attaches itself to this young girl, Quinn. Now she's into art. She likes her dramatics, and she likes, you know, delivering speeches and things like that. And she hopes to go to a college maybe. And she goes for this audition on stage, but unfortunately she doesn't get it. But on the way home, she's distracted by this figure, this shadowy figure in the distance waving to her. And bloody hell. There's a slight accident. Holy crap, that shit me up. I know sometimes when there's a jump scare you can gulp, but holy shit, I shouted. What the fuck? Yeah, completely out of the blue, unexpected, and threw me a curveball because I didn't expect it was going to be that dramatic. But anyway, Quinn is taken into hospital. They do lose her for a little while, but she comes back. But now she's got this demon attached to her. And when she's taken home by her dad, played by Dermot Mulrooney, I think it is. Yeah, and her younger brother. She's got plaster all over her legs and that she can't move. So she's bedridden for a while. And then things start happening around the apartment, and scary things and bumps in the night and jump scares and hands coming out of everywhere and shadowy figures in the window. And a lot of them were actually really good, effective jump scares, for me anyway. Elise now feels guilty that she's let this demon attach itself to this young girl. So she comes back and she tries to get rid of it and enter like the demon void, the demon world, and try and sever the connection. This was a really good film. This hit me like I wouldn't expect. It was really good. The story was great. The acting was fantastic, especially from the young girl who played Quinn, and Dermot Mulrooney. Lynn was fantastic in the film. It was effective. It looked really good. The other side looked a little bit chilling, and I thought it was really scary as well. This also hit me quite hard on an emotional level. Normally it wouldn't have, but I think the whole thing with her and her mum wanting to talk to her mum brought back a lot of memories for me, and brought back a lot of it dug up a lot of emotion. And I never thought I would say this, I was actually crying at the end of Insidious 3. I never expected that. I really never expected that, but it really hit me on an emotional level. I'm telling you, totally drained me at the end. Of course, they have to go and bollock it up by giving me another jump scare with Darth Maul, don't they? Right at the end. Again, another scream from me. Holy shit. Yes, but overall, Insidious 3 I thought was fantastic. It's a great addition to the Insidious franchise. I never thought that I would have been watching these videos, these films, and having so much fun watching these films, getting an emotional, having the shit scared out of me after the events of the first Insidious, where I turned it off and swore never to watch it again. I'm glad I stayed with them. I am looking forward to watching the other two Insidious films. They may not be up to par compared with the first three, but I'm still enjoying these films as well as the Conjuring. So I definitely recommend this. It's a great addition to the Insidious franchise. So fantastic film, and I never in a million years would have expected to have that emotional punch. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, next up we have The Evil Dead 2. I really do not know where to start with this. First of all, I'm going to say it. I don't think this is my sort of thing. I really don't. I didn't think much of the first film. I enjoyed the remake. The remake was good. The trouble is, I've seen 3 Evil Dead movies now and they're all the same. Ash, Cabin, People in the Cabin, Book of Dead. It's all recycled. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't. I thought Evil Dead 2 was awful. I really did. I'll tell you the problem I've got. I'll tell you my problem. Other than being recycled, okay, yeah, it's a product of its time, which was what, back in the 80s? Is it 87 or something like that for the second film? Obviously, the effects are not going to look brilliant. You know, the props look terrible. The makeup looks terrible. Bruce Campbell overacts so much in this film. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just overacting and overreacting to every single little thing. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. It wasn't entertaining for me at all. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get the hype for these films. Okay, I haven't seen Army of Darkness yet. I don't know if that's going to change my mind. Maybe I'd like that one. But so far, Evil Dead 1 and 2, not good films. Maybe they are for people that have dedicated their life to horror films and have grown up with horror films. But I've only recently come into watching horror films in the last couple of years, the last 3 or 4 years. But there are many films that I do like, many horror films. I just don't get this. I just don't get it. Yeah, I can't say anything other than that. It's not me. This just isn't me. I just don't get it. But hey, there you go. But I gave it a go. Yeah. Okay, last up. Yes, last up we have The Conjuring. Yes, the devil made me do it. I really enjoyed this film. So far, I think probably the weakest of the Conjuring movies. Not the Annabelles, but just the Conjuring movies. I think the first and the second are really strong, but this one's not as strong. Still a really entertaining story. Yeah, obviously it follows the ghostly adventures of Ed and Lorraine Warren again as they investigate in 1981. First of all, the film starts out as a exorcism. There's this young boy that's possessed, and in order to get him exorcised, in order to get the demon out of him, the young boy's sister's boyfriend confronts him and says, "Take me, possess me." So the demon crosses over from the young boy into the teenager, and there's a death that happens, and he has to go to court under, a charge of manslaughter, whereas they try to prove that it wasn't him, that he was demonically possessed. Like that's going to stand up in court. Now, the film also delves a little bit more into kind of like black magic. We have these totems which have been left at the family's house, and they've basically cursed the family. And Ed and Lorraine are brought in to get rid of these totems and also, rid the house, rid the family of this demonic force, of this curse that's been placed on them. Lorraine also has to use her visions to aid the police in trying to find out what happened to a young girl that went missing. And it's your usual hauntings and your usual scary bits. Like I say, it's not as good as the Conjuring 1 and 2, but it is it's a good entry into the Conjuring universe. But I think it's the third best one of the Conjuring films. So there we go. So that is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Yeah, definitely watch it. There's some good bits in it. There's some good exorcisms, and there's some good scary moments. Not too many jump out your skin moments, but still a good film. There we go. So that is it. It's taken a month to go through all those. There are a couple that I haven't touched. There's a couple more Insidious, the fourth, I think, and the fifth film. I need to watch those. And there's also a couple of Annabelles. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you've stayed for the entire hour, because there's been quite a few reviews as I've gone through them in the month. The other ones that I've just mentioned, Art the Clown, the second one, Terrifier 2, that's also, I need to watch that one as well. Yeah, I will watch those between now and Christmas. They will appear in probably the next edition of stuff that I could be bothered to watch. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it by giving it some thumbs up. Blah, 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 blah. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. And I hope you have a spooky evening, whatever you're doing, your parties. And don't give the kids too many sweets, because it'll rot their teeth. And happy Halloween, everyone. And I'll see you on the next video very soon. Bye bye.